2 of Cooking with Kevin. I'm excited to explore new avenues of cooking with you and share some of my favorites as well. All this last season with your great support has made me into a better cook. In fact, we'll be exploring a new type of dish that's never been seen on Cooking with Kevin, a Filipino-inspired seafood dish with a new guest chef coming on. And then we'll be doing barbecue, breakfast, lunch, you name it. We're going to be going to every aspect of the day. And then we're going to be offering a gluten-free alternative for every single dish given, and those recipes will be available on the webpage. And finally, we're going to bring back the Fireside Chat episode. It was a huge hit with all of you viewers writing in. I loved answering those questions, and I hope that we can share ideas with each other once again this season. And I'm very excited to explore these new avenues in this show. There's one last exciting and sad event that is coming. The Get Smart with Kelsey. Kelsey is stepping down. She's been given a new opportunity. I wish her the best. She will be doing her final episode today, and then you viewers spoke. And we are taking you seriously. We are bringing Brenna on staff. Guest Chef Brenna will be coming the Get Smart segment host, and she will be still coming on as a guest chef. So you will be getting more of Brenna like you asked for. So let's head on over to the kitchen, and I'm going to show you my favorite old-fashioned biscuits and gravy recipe. Alright, so now we're going to make one of my favorite recipes, old-fashioned biscuits and gravy. So if you come on over here, we have a pound of Jimmy Dean's Sage pork sausage. So we're going to put this into the pan here. I put a couple tablespoons of oil. You can put olive oil, canola oil, your preference. I did olive oil. And we're going to break it apart. Break it apart into more ground beef consistency. So you just want to continuously break it up when it's in there. Into little chunks. Once you start getting it browny, it makes it a lot easier to break it apart. And then once it's starting to brown, then we're going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of finely chopped onion to this. So while we're doing this browning, we're going to send it over to Kelsey, who's going to give her farewell as well as some history of the biscuits and gravy. Kelsey?
Thank you, Kevin. So, biscuits and gravy grew out of necessity and availability during the American Revolutionary War. In the South, pork sausage is the most common and most popular. The pork sausage is actually used, the grease from the pork sausage is actually used to make the gravy. They use flour, milk, and water to create the gravy substance. So the buttermilk biscuits were cooked and added to the gravy for a filling and tasty meal. That's why it was so popular back in the day. Biscuits and gravy earned the place in the heart and stomachs of Southern people. Because sausage was already made to be eaten during breakfast, they just incorporated it into the biscuits and gravy. Okay, geographically speaking, biscuits and gravy is really common in the South, like I was saying. It's very popular in the Carolinas, stretching all the way to Georgia and even through Louisiana. Okay, Kevin, I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been one of the most fantastic opportunities I've been given. And Kevin, your food is absolutely delicious. However, I've been given a different opportunity that I'm going to pursue, and I just want to thank you so much for this great venture that you've been giving me for the past couple years. And I'd just like to say thank you to all the viewers, and continue watching because I know I will be. Have a good day. Bye.
And welcome back. Kelsey, you will be missed. So what I've done now is, while you were off with Kelsey, I added the onions, 2 to 3 tablespoons of onions, and I've cooked it with the pork sausage until they're mostly transparent. So you can't even really tell if there's onions now in this mixture. So now I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of flour. I'm going to mix it in to the grease. until it's all mixed in. You may have to kind of scrape the bottom a little bit. Make sure it soaks up all the pork grease there. And then we're going to just let this kind of cook just for a minute or so until it starts turning golden brown. Because at this point it makes for a great thickener that when you add the milk and all the seasonings, it will make a nice thick gravy that we can put over the biscuits we'll make a little bit later. So now that we're waiting for the flour mixture to turn golden brown, we'll send it to Julie. She has a fun tip about how to avoid a tough biscuit. Julie?
Hi, I'm here to talk about flaky biscuits. What's the secret? What makes them tough? Well, I'm here to tell you. One of the things is you maybe have just measured some liquid ingredients and you think, oh, I'll just use a glass. This is actually for liquid. And when you're going to use flour, make sure that you use the nested. Also, don't scoop. It packs. So what you want to do, it takes more time, but it's worth it, is to spoon in the flour and then level it off. Otherwise, your proportions, there will be too much flour compared to liquid. The second thing is the different types of flours. And Kevin alluded to this, that you can substitute up to 1/3 of the flour, but you want to be careful. My suggestion is to use cake flour or all-purpose flour. If you use bread flour, it sounds good when you're making a biscuit, but it's not. It will make your biscuits tough because there's too much protein. The other thing is, don't handle, when you're mixing it together, don't keep kneading it. When you keep kneading the bread, it actually works the gluten and it will create toughness. The last thing is, you think cooking trays, that they're probably all alike. This one's dark. If you use an aluminum one, you can set your temperature. Most biscuits cook at about 325. But if you use a dark surface cooking pan, you need to reduce your temperature by 25 degrees. That is because the dark absorbs the heat quicker and it will be transferred into the items that you're cooking. Let's see if there is any more hints here. Also, if the minimum time is 10 to 12 minutes, check your biscuits about 5 minutes before the minimum time. Once they're golden brown, they're done. And I think that's all the tips that I have for you. Anyway, keep cooking with Kevin.
And welcome back. So what I've done is the meat started turning a little bit of brown, so then I added 4 cups of milk. Okay, so we did 2 cups of 2% milk and 2 cups half and half. Okay, so then I've stirred it in along while I was pouring it in, and now it's time for the seasonings. So we have a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, okay, and then a 1/2 teaspoon scant of salt, so not a complete 1/2 teaspoon, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of poultry seasoning. And we're going to mix this on medium heat until it starts to thicken. Once it starts to thicken, we'll turn it down to low and let it simmer. Okay? And so while we're doing that, we're going to send it over just to our comment page, just in case you have some comments that you want to send in. So now what we're going to do, we're going to do the finishing touches to the gravy here. So we're going to do a dash of Worcestershire sauce and a dash of hot pepper sauce. In this case, it's Tabasco. And we'll mix that in, and that just kind of gives the gravy a nice little punch right at the end there. A little spicy flavor. So now, while this is cooking, because it takes a while for it to thicken, we're going to start on the biscuits. So let's come on over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with 2 cups of flour that I've already put into a big bowl here. Okay, and then we're going to add about a half teaspoon of cream of tartar, and then a half cup oil. This is extra light olive oil. And then 4 teaspoons of baking powder, a half teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. And we'll mix all these up here until it forms a nice crumbly dough. Once the dough starts to form, then we're going to add the milk. Okay, so we're going to add 1/3 cup, half and half, and 1/3 cup milk. And we'll now mix this in. It'll make a nice moist dough. You don't want to overmix. Biscuit dough, that's one thing that can make biscuits tough, is overmixing. So you want to mix just till it forms. And if you ever want to do a mixing of flours, like put whole wheat flour in, just do 1/3 of a cup of the whole wheat flour or the alternative flour in relation to the main flour, because the baking properties will change the manner of the way the product bakes. So now we are going to take this dough that has been just lightly formed, and we're going to just drop it in about, you know, a golf size ball. Okay. These will expand in the oven with the heat thanks to the baking powder. You want about 1 inch or so in between each biscuit ball. And these will bake at 450 degrees, so make sure you're preheating the oven. And they'll bake for 10 to 12 minutes or until golden brown. So while I'm doing this, I'll send it over to Tim, who's going to do an exciting breakfast adventure. Tim, what do you have for us?
Oh, you caught me packing my bags. Are you ready to take a journey around the world with me today? We're going to take a journey around the world to determine who eats what for breakfast. Considering since Kevin's making delicious biscuits and gravy today. So let's continue packing our bag. Remember to grab your sunblock, your camera to take beautiful pictures of each country we're traveling to. And let's have a great time traveling together. Alright, we just landed in Hungary. Hungary is such a unique country that people wonder why it has the name Hungary. And so one of the reasons why I think they have the country named Hungary is because they're big portion-sized breakfasts that they eat. They have open-sized sandwiches, kind of like they do in Finland, but a lot more variety that you get to choose from. They have cold cuts, they have sausages, they have liver, they eat tongue even. They even have great fried steaks and eggs with them, and it's just so massive that it's like, it made my stomach so full that I can barely move for the next meal. Alright, so that's what they have here in Hungary. They also have different varieties of French toast and different varieties that we have here in the US, but those are different varieties of different meat that they have. Alright, we just landed in Israel. It's such a great, beautiful country. Make sure you take out your camera and get sightseeing, but make sure you stop at these delicious breakfast items I'm about to tell you. You do not want to miss that. So they have like a lot of fried eggs. They have omelet style. They have open breads with jams, honeys, and different fruits and vegetables. They also have different kind of cheeses. They have chafati, Gouda cheese, which is a different name called Emmet cheese, is what it's known for over in Israel. And name's Good Gallant here in Australia, the down under country, here with the home of the kangaroos. We'll be talking about the breakfast items. I'm just kidding, I'm not an Australian. Anyway, prior to the Second World War, the household refrigerator was non-existent in Australia. They fried, they grilled everything. They had grilled steaks, fried eggs. They were like big, like strong people. That they had big hearty meals. Alright, before, many Australians don't remember the big hearty grilled steaks and fried eggs. But until recently, during the Pacific War, when the Australian and the United States joined forces, when the United States Marine Corps was stationed in Australia, they brought back the grilled steaks and fried eggs to have big hearty breakfasts to last them for a long period of time while fighting in the war. Well fans, it's time to pack our bags and head back to the mainland. We have seen amazing breakfast items, and I hope that when you travel, I hope you'll be able to experience these great foods that I talked about. But before I head back, I'm going to be experiencing great tourist attractions, the Grand Opera House in Australia, and zoom back over to New Zealand before I head back to Oregon and visit the Lord of the Rings set. Now, Kevin, have fun in the kitchen and enjoy your biscuits and gravy.
Welcome back, and thank you, Tim. That was very enlightening and fun to kind of see what other countries do for breakfast. So we're going to put the biscuits now into the oven at 450 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. Once they're golden brown, you'll bring them out, let them cool for about 5 minutes, and then you can put this gravy that has become thick, look at that, you can drizzle it right over the biscuits, and it'll be ready to serve. Welcome back. So now we're going to take a look at the biscuits. Look at that. They got the golden brown touches on the tops. As I'm making the biscuits and gravy for the studio audience here, I made them smaller to make them go around more so. But in your instance, you'll probably want the biscuits a little larger. So they will remain the size mostly of how the dough ball is on the baking trays. So make them a little bit larger if like you're making it for say 4 people or so. You may want to maybe make about 3 balls in one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of these off here. And we're going to put some of this gravy over the top. And there we go. So we have biscuits and gravy, old-fashioned, with a nice rich pork sausage gravy. And you can serve it with fruit, juice, coffee, your call, eggs, hash browns. All those will be a nice completing part to this delicious breakfast that I'm sure will be a family favorite. As always, keep cooking with Kevin.